Legion of Men had some reaction response video, whatever you want to call it, to CEO of a company called Gravity that had a minimum pay threshold for their employees of $70,000 a year. Well, that's a lot of money. What do they need that much for? They better be PhD wielding folks. And it turns out, there's a lot, even Republican folks like Rush Limbaugh were bashing on him that, this would be a case study in what not to do when you own a small business. Guy tripled his company's net worth. Eventually. Took some time, almost crashed and burned, but he came out on top. And you know why? Because he held on to his employees long enough for them to become skilled employees. This was the tool that entrepreneurs, that business owners used to understand. Your employees are the backbone of your company. You should treat them well. You have a vested interest to do so. And by the way, $70,000 isn't that much money. I really think that's the floor. 60K is the floor. 60K is the new, 60K means you're making enough money to have your own apartment. Not having roommates, at least in most places in America, not in all. Some places like areas of Florida, like Miami, pretty much all of New York City, big metropolitan areas, Los Angeles, Orange County, places like that, you're going to need more, but the vast majority of cities in America, 60K is going to be enough for you to afford your own apartment, your own vehicle, maybe healthcare, maybe like the basic healthcare package and dental, and life essentials. Then you break even. I'm not talking about enough money to buy a house, which that isn't. Even dual income, if you have a spouse that's also making $60K a year, you might just make enough money to buy a dump, a fixer-upper. Now, the average CEO pay here in America is something like 300x what the lowest paid employee makes in a company. How did we reach a point as a nation where this is acceptable? There is something fundamentally broken in the way that we reward effort in this country. Fundamentally broken. This class structure, caste structure, has permeated throughout America and the world like a cancer, where we treat employees like they're disposable, like they don't matter. You're a replaceable cog. You get what you pay for. Like all things in life. This economy of desperation of the ultra haves and everybody else, you're going to have a society of road warriors, serfs, and ultra riche. Not a particularly efficient road warrior. Most of us aren't. Don't have the DNA for it, don't have the energy for it after a fashion. And not too fond of being a slave to debt my entire life. This path has been chosen for us in many cases. We're sold this lie: go out and get a degree, and then you'll be able to make good money. Once you pay the debt off, if you ever do. While everything is getting devalued, while your dollar, therefore your labor, is being devalued, companies won't raise wages. We're stuck in this death spiral. And we wonder why things are broken. We can't fix the roads. People can't afford a house, can't afford the rent, can't afford food, can't afford daycare. Shouldn't even need daycare. If the one person, the breadwinner, made enough money, the other could stay home, be a stay-at-home parent, provide stability for the kids, actually create an environment economically where it's feasible to have children. You treat a civilization, a nation, treats their people like the vast majority of them are disposable. Who's going to want to raise children in that environment? That used to be my number one goal. When I was in my mid-20s to early 30s, all I wanted was to have, I wanted to find a wife that was loyal and dependable and, good mother material, and have some kids and get a house eventually. This wasn't even that long ago. We're talking 10 years ago, folks. Things weren't much easier back then, but they were still easier. We're on this downward trajectory where you don't matter. The powers that be have made it abundantly clear that you don't matter. Here's how much you matter. You see it in your paycheck. You see it in the benefits that you don't have. The benefit packages that pay for almost nothing. And you have to pay out the nose for the privilege of getting that nothing. While people playing sports ball games for children that contribute nothing to society make millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it's still not enough. You hear about these guys going broke. I find it difficult to relate to folks like this because of that. I'll never see that amount of money. Most of us never will, especially not for something like that. We've got a broken reward system, and it needs fixing bad. We need more CEOs like this guy from Gravity. America needs a fundamental shift in the way they treat the working class Americans, blue and white collar. Doesn't matter. We're not going to see fundamental changes in the way America operates. It was a risk for him to do that. No doubt. Almost failed. That was the risk employers took. Business owners took. Because they understood it was necessary. Part of the reason why this Keynesian trickle-down economics bullcrap is so alluring to the asset holder class is because they understand that most Americans do not understand the financial system and they won't be armed with enough information to call for living wages. Because they don't even understand what living wages actually are. A lot of people are still stuck in this mentality that $20 an hour is a lot of money. It isn't. It's decent. It is decent money. But it's not start a family money. It's not buy a home money. It's not buy a new car money. Unless you're getting 60 to 80 hours a week. Good luck doing that with a single job. We've got the blueprint for something that works, that we could be doing. Record profits on Wall Street, record debt for the individual and the individual household. There is a way in which this fiat money system could be made to work in the people's favor. I think this is how it used to work, actually. It's just that the Overton window of the public had shifted over years. We didn't catch wise fast enough that the economic landscape was changing, and it just became okay. It's okay to just barely make it. It's okay to not be able to afford certain essentials as long as others are still met. I can struggle for a little while, at least I'm not homeless. Eventually that becomes, oh shit, I'm homeless. And I think we crossed that threshold about 4 or 5 years ago now. And no administration in the past 10 years will call balls and strikes on what our economy really feels like. Really is. Not just feels like, what it really is. We've been in a recession for at least 5 of those years. At least. Might go back further than that. This is being generous. I don't see corporate America making the right steps, moving America in the right direction. There needs to be legislation on this. Labor unions, maybe. Something. What we're doing right now isn't working. And folks like Zoran Mamdani are going to be more and more appealing to younger folks, younger voters, as a result, because no one else is offering answers to these questions, the economic questions that impact the individual. We've got this shiny, flashy, new thing, quotation marks. It's called socialism. You probably never heard of it. Well, it's going to solve all these things because we're just going to make everybody else pay for you. It's just more corporate welfare. But it's more, right? Hey, I mean, we're just going to pay for it. It's the wrong direction, but it's a direction. Got a desperate, economically suppressed population. They're ripe for a cult overtake. Brainwashing. None of this is a mistake. I don't believe. If it was a mistake, occasionally the American people would benefit from said mistakes. Never seems to work out that way, does it? Why is that? Why does it seem like there's an invisible hand that doesn't want America to prosper? That's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. Perception is reality. Most of us, perception is life sucks. We're just looking for a reason why it sucks. Most obvious one is there just isn't enough money being shared with the bottom 80% of Americans. Why did it get this bad? This 300x between CEO pay and what the janitor's making. I think that wage chasm needs to be filled in, shored up a little bit. How many millions of dollars does an individual need before they feel like success has been attained? You could probably live a very, very posh lifestyle on half of that. And enrich thousands of your employees by taking that pay cut. Thousands. Something like that. Enough of these big companies, 3, 4, 5 of them, if they take a similar route, and even just take 20, 25% of their CEO's take-home pay and put that towards their employees' pay, you will see the face of America change into something amazing. We could have a golden age for this country again. For a little while, until inflation kicks in. People might start investing, taking risks, start their own companies, venture off. It's been, 100 years since we invented flight? When's the last big invention came out? AI? Well, that's great. What's the incentive to make these tools any better? The engineers designing them have to know it's their own jobs on the line once AGI is perfected. That's without getting into the existential debates of whether or not this thing's going to turn into Skynet and murder sauce all of us. Humans not necessary, eradication activated. When the reward system gets screwed up, it screws up everything else. Motivations, intentions, goals. We set the wrong goals, we wind up in the wrong places. This is where we are. Looks like we're doing some things wrong here, Mr. and Mrs. America. We either don't have a captain at the helm, or they're incapable, or don't have our best interests at heart. A pirate ship. The pirate ship of America used to understand you share the loot with your crew, or bad things happen. When's the last time that you or I got a cut of the loot? Which we shouldn't be doing anyways, but since we are, since it's our labor that fuels this machine of death and destruction abroad, we should at least be getting something out of it. A return on investment, asset holder class. I'm sure you're familiar with that term. Americans have invested a hell of a lot into this thing. In the last 11 months, we invested $2 trillion. Where did it go? What do we have to show for it? What came out of that? How did that improve our lives individually? I really want to know. I want some answers to these things. Everybody does. Because the path we're on right now, it leads to austerity and eventually the R word. Don't know which form, shape that's going to metastasize into, but it's coming. You can feel it in the air. This thing would snap and the benefits being turned off. This is just a canary. One canary in the coal mine. Starting to look a little woozy. Starting to look like there might be an issue. Needs addressing. How many more times can this country suffer another group of fools kicking the can down the road? It's not going to matter whether the R word is televised or not. It's, we got the internet now. It's too useful of a control mechanism for them to cut it off, so. Stuff isn't fixed, it's going to get ugly, and it's going to be out of our hands. It's going to be out of my hands, it's going to be out of your hands, it's going to be out of the government's hands, ultimately. You get enough people pissed off and desperate. There'll be a rallying cry heard across the globe. Why does life suck when others live in abundance? Why does my life suck? Why are these people that are basically contributing nothing to society being exorbitantly paid for doing nothing and arguably making our lives worse? Why do we keep going to war? Why is our money worth dirt? Why do we have a ruling class in this country? Why do we have politicians that are seemingly immune to the law? Why do we have business owners that are seemingly immune to the law? Why are non-citizens seemingly in receipt of more benefits than actual citizens? Enough people start asking these questions, and a high enough number, you're gonna have a problem. And we are approaching a critical juncture where there's a lot of people asking these questions, and we're not getting any fucking answers. You know, there's a few different things that can happen when you have a turning point in a nation. We could turn a corner, make a profit, enrich the lives of Americans, and make a better country. Or we could break bad, real fast. Which way is it going to be? And by the way, doing more of the same results in that bad one. The latter, the former, or the latter, rather. Doing more of the same is going to cause the bad thing. So indecision in this case is actually just selecting the bad option. extrapolate on that, Mr. and Mrs. Corporate Planner. Living wages or break bad? You choose.